Buying a home is without doubt an exciting experience, and what a ride it's been so far. And it's now time to get down to the actual legal process of buying and exchanging a property. Joining me today is Robert Nasser from Platinum Lawyers Sydney to give us some general advice, answer some common questions and take us through the process and tell us exactly what's going to occur. Welcome, Robert.
Thank you for having me.
Robert, I just want to get into it. So what is a property lawyer?
A property lawyer is a legal practitioner who handles the transfer of land. The transfer of land from a vendor to a purchaser is what's known as a conveyance.
Okay, very good. And when should a client actually talk to a property lawyer?
The earlier the better. People spend months preparing for weddings, whereas buying a property is way more expensive. So you want to make sure that your contract has been thoroughly reviewed. You want to make sure that your pre-inspection reports, whether it's a strata, a building or a pest report, are ordered and reviewed also, and that your finance checks out. You really need to be prepared before you purchase a property, and especially before you go to an auction, because at an auction, at the fall of the hammer, the contract is immediately binding, no cooling off period, so you really want to make sure that you're ready to go to an auction.
That'd be pretty tough, wouldn't it? A client comes to you and says, I bought a property, I haven't got the finance.
It still happens these days.
Is that right?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow, okay. And look, what questions should the buyer be actually asking the property lawyer, I guess, before they even engage them?
Should ask them about their qualification. I think that's probably the most important. Also ask them how many years they've been practicing. And also ask them if they've got the proper insurance. So lawyers and conveyancers also have a professional indemnity insurance. So you want to make sure that that's current and valid. Okay,
very good. Look, in my hands here, I've got some frequently asked questions, and a lot of people that are seeing this video, it might answer a lot of their questions. So I'm going to go through them with you, and I'm sure you know all the answers, Robert. But before I do, tell us a little bit about Platinum Lawyers and what you guys actually do.
Okay, well, Platinum Lawyers, we're a boutique firm. Our main area of practice is property conveyancing. So our systems and our legal software are all designed to handle a volume of conveyancing work. That's important because it makes sure that key dates aren't missed. Because that can be dramatic if you've missed a key date in a property conveyance. We have a team of property lawyers that work in the department, so we're not a one-man band. We handle conveyancing across all states of Australia, so we've got that expertise, and we've handled transactions from your single one-bedroom unit to a shopping centre conveyance. So the thing that we pride ourselves on is just being clear on communication with the client.
Excellent. Look, I'll start going through these questions now. When buying a house and land package, and as you know, most of them include two contracts, right? Contract for the land and a contract for the construction, a building contract. So not all conveyancers understand a building contract. So what should the clients, should they be engaging a property lawyer like your firm? What sort of questions should they be asking to make sure they're going to get the right advice in this instance?
Okay, well, correct. A building contract is a legal document. So a property lawyer is probably the best person to go through both the conveyancing contract and the building contract with you. They need to be handled together because they operate off each other. So once you settle on the land, the building contract takes over, and you need to have that seamless advice all the way through.
Okay, very good. So in terms of the actual process of buying a property, okay, so the client calls you and says, I've bought a property, and you get the contracts, right? So a lot of people out there, I don't think they know, and probably nor should they, know what actually happens behind the scenes. Okay, so what do you guys actually do once you receive those contracts?
Okay, we bring the client in for a conference. So we go through each provision of the contract with them, even the simple things such as the inclusions, so what needs to be marked on the front page of the contract, because once you know what the client has bargained for in their contract and you've made sure the contract reflects that, it means at the end of the time, once it settles, they've gotten what they've bargained for. In between the exchange of the contract and the settlement, we've ordered the searches that we need to order in order to do the adjustments. We've dealt with their finance broker to make sure that their loan is ready to settle on time.
Pretty important.
And we gear up with the vendor's lawyers to make sure that everything happens on that important date, which is called the settlement. Okay,
very good. And look, a lot of people aren't aware until they speak to a lawyer that when it's time to actually exchange the property, in New South Wales in particular, it's generally a 10% deposit, right? Unless it's been negotiated otherwise, right? Is that a common situation that you can
we have a lot of purchasers that just assume a 5% is acceptable because they've gone to the family barbecues and they've heard that that's what can happen. That needs to be pre-agreed if it's going to be agreed. So it's always a 10% deposit unless your lawyer has pre-agreed of anything less than that.
And this involves you communicating with the solicitor acting for the seller or the vendor, right?
Exactly.
And getting them to agree to these terms.
Exactly.
Okay. So look, when clients actually buy a property, there's going to be associated costs with buying that property, like stamp duty. What other costs would the client be looking at?
Okay, well, stamp duty is your main cost. So you want to make sure you're on top of how much stamp duty your purchase price is going to reflect.
Yep.
You've got your mortgage duty, your mortgage fees, so
Yes.
whatever your bank wants to charge you for obtaining the mortgage. And then you've got your lawyer's costs.
Yep.
Okay, you've got your minor banks fees and charges which will come into play,
Yep.
but your three main ones are the stamp duty, mortgage costs, and conveyancing fees.
Okay. Now, the next question is a great one. What sort of costs are involved in engaging a conveyancer or a property lawyer?
Okay, the transaction is made up of a professional fee and disbursements. Now, disbursements will all be the same no matter where you go. The professional fee is what lawyers will charge depending, and the difference depends on which firm you go to, etc.
Yep.
So some lawyers charge an hourly rate, whereas that can blow out depending on how complex your transaction is. Our firm charges a fixed fee. So we're upfront with our client as to what that fee is from the outset, regardless of how much time they spend how much time we spend on their matter. That fee is fixed and there's no surprises at the end of the line.
I think it's really important that people understand that some conveyancers will just quote over the phone just a fee that doesn't include everything that Robert's talking about, and it's really important to get a quote of some sort. Is that right?
Yeah, it is, and get that quote in writing because that helps. But I think getting a fixed professional fee is what will give you the peace of mind, because you want to be able to ask all the questions you need to ask.
Yep.
You want to be able to have everything explained to you properly and not worry about the clock in the background.
Okay, very good. Any other last words of wisdom, Robert?
Well, I think communication is the main thing. So you want to make sure that your lawyer is able to communicate with you. Test them out. Tell them, leave a message for them to call you back at a certain time and see if they come back to you and deliver on that. Put all your professionals on the same page.
Yep.
So that's your mortgage broker, your real estate agent, and your lawyer. Put them all on the same page, and what you'll find is that your transaction will be seamless from start to finish.
Yeah, that's some really good advice. Robert Nasser, Platinum Lawyers. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Carl.